That's not good, is it? Welcome to my cake kitchen. I am Gladys. I love cake, and over here I make simple, informative tutorials to help you navigate baking and decorating easily. Tabitha, I don't know who you are complimenting. Gladys when the scarf is out and in with good morning, darling. How are you? How is everybody? Look, we are running late because I decided to go to the salon to look like this. Okay, no, we are not here. It's not a beauty contest. We're not here for the beauty. Okay, we're here to make a cake. Okay. Thank you, Tabitha. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. The scarf is easier and it's convenient and makes everything just seamless. This is hard to maintain, but today we're here. Okay, don't be distracted, stay here with me. Okay, what are we doing? We're making a red velvet cake. Okay, we're baking some layers of red velvet cake. Don't lose track, don't let this fool you. We are about to jump right in, and if you see me for the first time, hello there, welcome. Over here we make cakes. I love cakes. Okay, and today I'm taking you through a red velvet cake recipe that we are going to be baking in 5-inch deep pans. Right now, recipes and baking and all of that can be difficult if you don't understand what you're doing. More so, it is a little more difficult if you have to bake in deeper pans because of the way heat moves around and the way deeper pans affect amounts and quantities and everything else. So I'm going to be talking you through everything you need to know so that you can get great results. The good news is that red velvet, the recipe I'm using, is not new. I've used it a ton of times over here. It is a recipe I derived myself. It's easier to derive. You can bake it in a deep pan, you can bake it shallow, you can make adaptations, everything in between. So you know what, I'm not going to waste your time. We are just going to jump right into it. And yeah, let's jump right in. Okay, first of all, we are going to be preheating our oven over here. Okay, I think I'm going to preheat it at 170 degrees C, but we're going to be baking at 160 degrees C. Now, if you're in the chat, you're just joining us, do consider liking the video. That is if you're finding some value in here already today. Okay, Lollipop is back here. Lollipop, good afternoon, darling. How are you? Lollipop, we need to talk about you and your Swiss meringue buttercream that we started yesterday. I think I had that in mind before I decided to show up today. So we'll be talking about that in a moment. In the meantime, what do we have on my table here? Let's talk through the ingredients that we are going to be using to make the red velvet. One ingredient I haven't brought here. Let me just get that together and then we can start. That is red food coloring. Did you know, if you're just joining us, did you know that the original red velvet cake that was derived in the early 1900s had nothing to do with red food coloring? Nothing at all. Some genius person woke up one day and decided that, oh, okay, actually we can put some food coloring and this should be red. But the original red velvet cake recipe had nothing to do with red food coloring. The color wasn't even red. It was dark brown, okay, color. That was a reaction between the natural cocoa that was used in the recipe and the buttermilk and baking soda that was in the recipe. So yeah, that was it. So the original red velvet sort of comes off on the back of a chocolate cake, but it's not the same. It's not a chocolate cake. And in modern times, people tend to confuse red velvet with chocolate cake with a food color, no, they are not the same thing. Because if you know anything about ingredient ratios, you will know that the amount of cocoa powder that you need and liquid ingredient that you need to even derive a great tasting chocolate cake with a good mouthfeel is not the same as a red velvet cake, because there has to be balance. A good red velvet cake though is, it's not dense, but it's not spongy. It's somewhere between a dense chocolate sponge, but has a note of chocolate, but with a tartness, a slight tanginess to it. If you combine it with, say, cream cheese frosting, any variation of the cheese, you have a nice balance of sweet, tartness, tangy, and just rich, smooth mouthfeel. That's what a red velvet cake should taste like. But hey, I say to people who know nothing about cake, who say, oh, I love a red velvet, I will tell you for nothing that I love a good red velvet cake. But red velvet cake is so overrated, especially if you don't make cakes, because people who don't know cake don't even understand the different variations of cake that you can have that are great tasting and that will give you a good experience. So anyway, I'm not going to bother too much. Let's just Isaac, hiya, all of you, hello. Right, so over here I have self-raising flour. We have 400. Okay, Tabitha or Lollipop, put the measurements in the chat for me, please, if you don't mind me asking. We have 450 grams. No, actually, we have 430 grams of, did I say 430? That's a lie. 630 grams of flour, okay? And then we have 40 to 60 grams of cocoa powder here, okay? 430 grams of self-raising flour, by the way. It's not plain flour. If you're using plain flour, you want to go for at least 15 grams of baking powder. But you might as well just split it, maybe about 8 grams of baking powder and 7 grams of baking soda, because you will need the soda to react with your buttermilk to give your cake some rise. So you have 400, why do I keep going 400? 600, and now I've got myself a bit confused. I'll have to measure this all over again. I will, because I keep kind of like going back to 400. No, we're not talking 400. It's 600, okay? 630 grams over here. And then we have 485 grams of margarine, okay? This recipe is quite adaptable. You can have parts of margarine or parts of oil, or you can replace both with butter. That is completely fine. And we have 625 grams sugar, granulated sugar. We have 300 mils of buttermilk here. And we are going to need about 280 grams of eggs. I have 6 eggs over here. The self-raising flour has a pinch of salt in there. You'll need about up to 7 to 10 grams of salt. The measurement is completely up to you, so you choose that. So that is what we have over here. And for convenience, into that we also have, for the buttermilk, we also have 2 tablespoonfuls of vinegar, okay? You can use distilled vinegar, but wine vinegar, white wine vinegar is fine to add to it. So those are the ingredients that we need over here. I'm going to move them out of the workspace, and for what it is worth and for convenience, I'm going to be using the stand mixer over here. You can obviously, no, for this quantity you definitely need a stand mixer because it's too much. But you could derive the recipe using a hand mixer if you were to divide the quantity, okay? The quantity I am making here will make 2 6-inch pans baking deep, 4-inch deep, let's say full to the brim deep. I'll leave the equivalent in the description box for you, okay? Let me go and put this Oh, I have moved. Okay. Bear with me. Okay. Okay. Lollipop, you're baking. 1 second. Let me just adjust the let me just adjust this slightly. It moved. Yeah, let's. Oh, anyway, sorry. Tapeta, you're baking. You're baking brownies. And Lollipop, did you say you're melting? The weather can't be that bad. Is it so hot where you are, my love? Okay. Right. Look at me. Okay, let's get into baking. Now, people, you will all know that when this mixer starts making noise, I will be over here quiet. Okay, if you've never been here before, I like to kind of interact and catch up with you guys, but when my, bear with me. Cha 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 cha. Okay, let's see. Lights, camera, action. Okay, we have one light sorted. Okay, I'll tell you. I like to catch up with you people, but when this thing starts making noise, it's like that's my cue to say shh. Okay, so if it starts making noise and I'm quiet, I'll come back and talk to you. Just bear with me. Okay, the Lollipop says it's humid at the moment and I've been busy pottering about, so I'm just feeling hot. Lollipop, you know what I'm thinking. Okay, darling. Well, I had a cold shower before I got here, so I have managed to kind of keep the feeling of hot down a little bit. And plus, the weather looks good outside, but hey, you can't trust this English weather. That changes its minds. Like, let's see. Sugar goes in. And into that, we have 2 tablespoonfuls of vanilla. But as always, we pour it with so much love on here. RD, good morning, darling. How are you? How are you today? And I hope life is treating you great. Great to have you back, RD. Yeah, I love autumn though. Lollipop, you are my spirit sister because I love autumn. Okay, I did tell you when this thing starts shouting, I'm just going to leave it over here. Good. A run and hydrating can't be a bad thing, can it? Okay? Because we need to keep ourselves fit and healthy. So, I wish I could say so for myself. All I did was run 5 times up the staircase, okay? So, I count when I go up and I run down, but I don't count it. So, if you count both, it's 10 inclines and going up and down, 10. But After the fifth one, I'm like, I can't do this, okay? So if you're doing a run, good for you, but not me. I can't. Auntie said the butter looks rich already. Yes, thank you. And Lollipop would love to go back to swimming, horse riding, and exercising generally, and biking. People, do you know I can't ride a bicycle? And actually on my to-do list of hobbies, I would love to learn to ride a bicycle. Have you got any tips? Honestly, I can't. And if I told you the reason why I can't ride a bicycle, you will laugh. I'll tell you in a moment. Let's just finish this. But yes, I would love to swim and bike. Like, I have a picture of me in my head about what I look like when I finally master how to ride a bicycle. But I have to get over the fear of plunging down a ravine and losing my teeth or scratching my legs. Am I crazy? Lollipop, you talking about stabilizers like me and my son. Oh, I would love to ride a bicycle. Honestly, like nothing. I kind of feel like I will feel so invincible if I can ride a bicycle. All my hopes are stuck in wanting to ride a bicycle. Okay, on a flat surface and near grass, preferably. Okay, we'll see. I'm putting the egg yolk first. Lollipop, you wish you could drive a car. No way, Lollipop. Lollipop. Okay. I guess you win some and you lose some. You can swim. I can't. I can drive. You can't. Good. You can't always win. Well, RD and Lollipop, thanks for the tips, but I'd rather not fall. I don't want to fall down. I don't want to fall. Okay. I think maybe I should get over that impossible thought and just go for it. We are finding out a bit about each other, isn't it? Into that I'm adding the eggs to build up the butter before we go on. If you live in New York and you don't drive, I can understand, because it's a busy city and you can almost get any and everywhere with your public transport system. It's a bit like people who live in London. London transport system is optimized for you getting from one place to the other rather quickly. So I can understand that. Well, I guess what we all don't know is terrifying. I'm terrified about riding a bicycle, so I can understand how terrified you must feel for not learning to drive. The idea of driving, like, oh, if I told you about how my experience about learning to drive felt like, oh, it was awful. I felt like the car was going to kind of like leave me and the car was going to drive me to a place. And I remember the big producer saying to me, remember, the car will never go anywhere you don't want it to go, and it will never do anything you haven't asked it to do. And I think just putting it like that helped me kind of feel a little bit calm, but it was terrifying. Lollipop, you are such a princess, isn't it? I've always been driven. What a life. Lollipop is living her princess life over here. Oh my goodness, Audi, your baking journey is interesting. Let me just finish this, and this conversation is exciting. Let me just finish this and then we can talk some more about all of that. Let that wait 1 second. Let me just go and fix this screen a little bit. There you go. We're all done now. Okay, now I am going to turn this on complete slow function, and we are splitting the flour in 3. I'm eyeballing this, by the way, so that's 1 portion. And then into that I'm gonna add the red food coloring. Now don't be like me. You are better served adding the coloring to the buttermilk. Okay, we have buttermilk in there. Okay, and then we add the next batch of flour, and then the final bits. And then we add some more color. Hi Becky darling, hi there. Now what we are going to do is, I don't want to overmix this, so I'm going to take this off a little bit, and we are going to kind of get everything mixed together by hand so we don't overbeat this. I'm going to add the rest of the batter. If you're just joining us in the chat, hey, thank you for stopping by with us today. We are making a red velvet cake. That's our red velvet cake batter. Okay, there you go. Just gonna let this mix up a bit more. It can be a very kind of messy kind of batter, but hey. Okay. Into that, I'm just adding a 1/4 teaspoonful of baking soda, just to kind of give it a bit more lift. Okay, you want to be careful so you don't overmix the batter. Right, now with my washed hands, people, washed hands, we're going to get all the batter from the cake beater into okay. There you go. Okay, we got this out. Let's put this down. Okay. Okay. Let's wipe the worktop and get to finishing this batter. There you go. Look at our red velvet cake batter. Okay. You know, over here we taste our raw butter. I literally want to put a spoon in and dig it. But no, that will cause me tummy problems. We are not doing that. We are not about to do that. Are they? Oh God. My people, I know you and you know me. Okay? So we have one tin here. One tin here. Another one here. Okay. 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 And the third one. You want to make sure you mix everything together. Oh, it's such a good mix. Built Machine Martin. Martin, hi there. Are you a built machine or you build machines, Martin? Which is it? Anyway, welcome to the house. How are you? Oh, Baba. Look. Okay, there you go. Oh. Ah. Okay, one tin here sorted. Another tin here sorted. So we have 3 tins. Okay. Okay, I did not want to lose any of my butter. The butter is all done now. Okay, we are just stamping to pop the air bubbles, and then what I am going to do is get a spoon, flatten the top and dig the middle out so that we'll have an even bake. Yeah, these are all like small things you can do to enhance your results. Yeah. You flatten the top out and then you dig the inside out a little bit. And there you go. So for these, I don't have any water. 236. For these, I don't have any water at the base of the oven. The simple reason, it's baking at 160 degrees C. The reason why I don't have any water at the base of the oven is that these are baking at 4 inches deep. They are full to the brim, and so water is just going to slow the heat down and will affect the inside. I need the insides to bake. So 160 degrees C is still fair enough for it to bake evenly without leaving the middle very raw. Those are small things you can do. Maggie, hi darling, how are you? Oh, thank you, Maggie. Thank you. Maggie, thank you for stopping by, and thank you for the positive comment. Okay, now people, now we are done baking. I said we are done. We haven't finished our, okay, my hands are busy. I'm confused. Okay, my hands are less busy now, and I am not focused on trying to derive cake batter. So we are here now. Okay, so welcome again. If it's your first time you see me, I am Gladys. Okay, I love cake. Have I told you lately? Say it with me. I love cake. On a break at the moment, Maggie. Okay. I hope you're enjoying your break. Where are you joining us from, Maggie? I hope you're having a fun break, at least even if you're stopping by for a quick moment. I hope you can get back to whatever you're doing with so much smile on your face and enjoy a great day. Let us know where you are joining us from. Maggie, your neighbors just about with RD over here. RD, can you hold Maggie's hand over there for me? I'm kidding. Okay, I know RD is in Kentucky too. Okay, I have a quick question. Okay, tap it to shoot. For those of you in the chat, I know there's 30 of you. Okay, counting 32. The more the merrier. Okay, share the video with anyone who loves to bake, because this is a full-on tutorial. It's unfiltered. You get to see the entire process. We bake the cake. The results are great, even if I say so myself. Look, in this day and age in 2025, if you want to get something done and you don't get it done, that is on you. I'll tell you why. There is so much information. I mean, this is the sort of thing I needed when I started baking 10 years ago. I needed somebody who was kind of just showing us the raw, unfiltered process. Yeah, perfection is great. Have you seen my website? The cakes are amazing, even if I say so myself, okay? But that is because we buy what we see, okay? So I have to present a polished image. Thankfully, I have a thing for making things look good, okay? I love cakes, and I just love pretty cakes, but the lives are the unfiltered version of you sitting in my kitchen with me, where you get to see how the pretty part takes place over here. This is raw, this is unfiltered. So if you're just new to baking and you want to learn about baking, please join us, okay? You're welcome. That's all. I finished selling myself. There's about 30 of you in the chat. If you could each individually like the video, at least if we get to 15 likes, you are telling YouTube that you're having a great experience here. And more likely, YouTube will be inspired to kind of put the video in front of other people who may equally find it useful. So come on then, help us. Let's go. Okay, let's go. Thank you, Maggie. Thank you very much. I think I should say you guys actually encourage me, you know, because it's one thing just standing in my kitchen just by myself, living my dreams from what I imagine. And it's another thing actually having more than 8,000 people literally cheering me on. It's a whole different sort of experience and encouragement. And for that, I am completely grateful, incredibly blessed, and appreciate all of you for stopping by, for being here today. Okay, that said, Tapita had a cake question. She said, my friend can't have dye. Could I make red velvet without red food coloring? Okay, Tapita, here's the simple answer to your question. Yes, you can do, but it will involve a bit of science, because even though you can't use artificial coloring, you can derive the red color using natural coloring, as in beetroot, and you can derive the beetroot from raw beetroot juice, or actually drying the beetroot. I will encourage you to look on YouTube. There, just if you Google red velvet cake without food coloring, there are recipes, because the thing is, the recipes that are derived without the food coloring has to be adapted for a reaction between the colors, okay? Because natural colors kind of yield differently during the cooking process. For instance, some colors will change. So we'll take an example like what do you call it, strawberry looks red or deep pink when they are fresh, but if you put strawberry into your, say, cake batter, by the time they finish cooking, they would have lightened in color, and sometimes they turn slightly purple. Now there is a scientific process where whether you add acid or alkaline, you can stabilize the coloring so that the colors do not deteriorate. That is not my area of expertise, but I do have some sort of idea about how natural colors react. So for recipes that are derived for using natural colors, they are derived specifically by considering the process to stabilize the color and maintain the result. Okay, so just go on YouTube, Google red velvet cake without artificial colors, and there will be a few ones. I think a little while ago when I was attempting to make, remember the red velvet cake that I made without food coloring, and I used beetroot, pickled beetroot, and then it was like the mess of a cake. I made it on the channel, it's on a live somewhere. My research involved having to research some of these recipes, so I'll say go check some of those recipes out. The downside though is that if you find those recipes, you're going to have to try them first to make sure that they yield the results you desire before you can actually go and make them for your friends. So go try it. It might be a good learning opportunity for you as well, Tabitha. So the simple answer is yes, you can make red food coloring. Yeah, let me just get the door. Yeah, you can. So the simple answer is you can definitely do that, but it requires a bit of research. So go find that out, and I hope it helps. Thank you to those of you who have so far liked the video. Okay, thank you so very much, and thank you for stopping by. Where is Lollipop? Lollipop, I can't see you in the chat. And Tabitha, I hope that answers your question. Okay, you can make red velvet cake, because I was saying the original red velvet cake recipes had nothing to do with food coloring, except some genius person woke up one day and decided that they wanted to add food coloring, and we are thankful for it. Okay, we are thankful for it, but not the result where my hands are red. Okay, can you see my palm? It's like it's all red over here. Oh, you're looking for the baby's dummy. Oh, God. Hope you find it, my lovely. It can be... Let me just... Oh. I love a red velvet cake, but a red velvet cake in the sun is kind of like colors are melting everywhere. Your hands are red. It's like... Oh. Okay, there you go. Okay, Tabitha says it's summertime, one of my favorite seasons, so I'll try the red velvet experiment in the winter when I'm stuck. Tabitha, is that you saying you put your neighbor on hold? So they do not get to have a red velvet cake in the summer because you are out here enjoying your life, and they just have to sit tight and wait for you. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Right. RD says, I love autumn and winter. I love warm colors on my cakes. RD, I'm your spirit sister, because you know what? I love autumn. My favorite season is autumn. I like the autumn winds. I like the leaves. I like the dusky nature of autumn, where it's like, it's not winter yet, it's not too dark, it's somewhere in between. I love that. I love it. Like looking out of the window and watching the dry leaves fall and taking a walk, especially where I live, like a walk around the environment. It's just nice. I love winter. I love autumn. But I love Christmas, as in winter. The feelings that come with Christmas, okay? The Christmas business itself, I don't care for. I like the season. I don't like the winter with the snow, though. I like the winter when it's dark, it's warm, and it's all nostalgic. I love that. So perhaps I love autumn, winter, I would say. When the snow comes, it's like, no. No. But outside of that, a bit of spring. The flowers bloom, it's all beautiful, but then the clocks change and then it gets lighter. I don't like it. That's the only reason. So yeah, I like autumn, winter. I know that it's just like, oh, when I go for a walk in the it is a dream of mine to own a countryside home, like a cottage. I say a small, like when I see my American people, right? When I watch and people live in big mansions in the towns and the cities, like say the outskirts of towns and cities, it's pretty to look at, but I'm like, I want a lovely countryside. Not in Florida though. Because I don't want to be sharing my house with some alligators and reptilians, okay? Okay? Spring means all allergies, yep. And Lollipop says, I hate the clock when it changes. Don't we all, okay? Winter says, Tabitha says, winter is cold and everything is dead and brown. There is no color. But
that's not true. It's not true if you go out in the forest.
In the winter?
Yeah.
Why?
It's just different colors.
In the winter?
Yes. So to look up winter photography in like a pine forest. Go in a pine forest in the winter and tell me there's no colors. Green trees, red berries, bright red mushrooms.
Clearly, the big producer has different plans, okay? I have no idea what he's on about, people, okay? Adi, can you feel what I'm saying? Yep, yep, yep. Florida, Texas, and Australia. No. These three places and any places similar. I will not be living in the countryside because the idea of waking up to that serpent. No. So no. Unknown, why are you here? Unknown, why? Oh, Tabitha, you live by a pine forest. Oh, okay. Is that a nice thing? How does that must be so nice for you, isn't it? No, RD, you know what? I think the English countryside is just nice because it's England, isn't it? I cannot imagine living, even though the whole idea of living in the countryside is lovely. I don't think I'm talking about rural countryside. I'm not talking about that. Okay, No, I'm talking about, say, an urban countryside where it's a town, but the outskirts are all like greenery, and it's conserved, if you like. I like that. Rural countryside, no. First of all, you know why? I might like the rural countrysides, except I know if I make it to the rural countryside, I'm gonna be a loner for a very long time because nobody's coming to visit me. Nobody. None of the people around me who are close to me will care to drive miles and miles to the middle of nowhere. Yes, a happy balance of city and yeah. So an urban countryside will be fine. But proper rural countryside with farmlands, first of all, I don't even farm. Okay? I won't even know what to do. There's Dehira. Is it Dehira? Oh, is it Hala? Hi Dehira from Venezuela. Thanks for stopping by. Lollipop says, I want some takeaway when I live in the middle of nowhere. Oh, Aldi. Well, you live in Kentucky, isn't it? So, is it the Kentucky chickens? Have you fried all of them? No. Oh, you're surrounded by farms. That's fine. I don't mind being surrounded by the farms, but I think I like the idyllic surrounding of quiet and nature. Okay, and I kind of think having that in an urban countryside will be lovely. I'm not a rural countryside person because I don't like the smell of the manure. I am not a farmer. I don't care for the farmers and their flies. Okay, so yeah, look, now I'm telling you why. I like the quiet and the nature of urban countryside living, not the rural part. Okay. Do you farm yourself? Do you have chickens in your coop? I mean, Meghan Markle has a chickenic, which is a chicken's picnic. I'm like, this is white people's problem. This is like rich, like this is not even rich. This is super wealthy. I'm bored. I don't know what to do with my life. What is chickenic? Like, okay. You have Adi, you have chickens. Do you host chickenics with them? Mm-mm. Okay, Audi grows mainly herbs and vegetables. Oh, you have a little homestead. Ooh, okay. Well, tell us about your baking journey. You said you started your baking journey sitting and burning the stuff and sometimes sitting till it's baked. How far have you come and how long ago was it since you burned something? Okay? How long ago was that? Lollipop says, I love that. Well, Lollipop, you like to grow herbs. Lollipop has some lovely flowers at the front of her house anyway. And she lives by the seaside. So she feeds the seagulls. Lollipop, consider it's the seaside. Is it like a busy town? Is it busy? Do you live in a town? Oh, Tapeta, the brownies are done now. So the brownies have been cooking since we've been talking. Oh, okay. So, okay, it's it's a seasonal experience for you then. Tapita, come on, share the brownies. Let me make myself a cup of tea. Yeah, waiting for the brownie to cool is the hard part. So Audrey says she makes homemade breads and simple pastries. I wish to learn to decorate because I'm very simple with decor. Right, so Audrey, if you had to choose anything to decorate, choose. Okay, in the chat, here's the question. If you show by hands, if you bake, right, you know your way around deriving a cake, and yet you struggle with decorating. At least with Ardi, we know now that she struggles with piping. If you had to choose a cake, show by hand, first of all, those of you who know how to bake and just aim to improve on your decorating. Show by hands in the chat. And if, okay, what have we missed over there? Tabitha says, I'm sure many of us locals love it. Lollipop, you went looking for dummy and you found tweezers you lost years ago. How many years was that, darling? Right. We know Ardi says she can't use piping bags. I will touch on that subject in a moment. Okay. Ardi knows her way around baking. She would like to improve with her decorating. Lollipop, Tapita, here. If you're in the chat and you would like to learn how to improve your decorating, show your hand in the chat. Okay, Ardi, here's the question for you. If you had to choose 3 cakes, your like 3 cakes to focus on, describe one of the 3 that you feel like you would want to focus on decorating. So choose a cake that you think, you know what, I want to learn this particular thing. Describe that in the chat for me, just so that I can help make some recommendation on how you can start tackling that. So describe your ideal cake. So imagine, you know, you can bake. So even if you look at a cake that has been well presented and you kind of feel like, okay, I can bake a cake, I just don't know how to get it to this point. Describe that cake visually. Let's see what that looks like in the chat. Okay. Tapita says, I will have no, it's 7 a.m. I'll have no issue waiting for the brownie to cool. Oh, that's what we call discipline, because some of us, okay. Lollipop says, I definitely need to decorate better. Okay, yeah, sure. So, Lollipop, I don't think last time Last time we were so distracted by the jokes of it's getting hot in here, so take off all your clothes. Well, YouTube was quick to tell us that that video can't be monetized, and in fact, every time that video played and it earned a penny, all of the remit of that was going to the copyright owner. So I was like, no, hell no. So we kind of clipped that part out, and by so doing we lost the live chat. So I've lost everything in the live chat, because when you edit a part of the video you lose that. But that was because I needed to get rid of the copyright notification. But that is just by the way. So we've lost the conversation we had about on that day. But I'm just asking, we didn't get to talk. Well, I did ask the questions and then I lost track of it, so my apologies for that. We were talking, I was asking you, what happened to your birthday cake and why did it crack so bad, just so that I can give you some tips on how to solve it. Plus we'll talk about your Swiss meringue buttercream in a moment. Okay, Tapita has a phone call to take. Yeah, sure, Tapita, no problem. Okay, so Tapita is gone to the RT, says piping techniques. I would love to learn to do a rose and let's say a vanilla cake, or even on cupcakes. I struggle making them. Look presentable. I think I lack proper wrist movement. Okay, Aldi, thank you for that. There is clear information about where you want to improve, which is actually a good thing. So, okay, because what your needs are specifically based set in technique. Okay, technique. First and foremost, I will say, okay, I'll give you generalized information on what I am considering. Say if you were someone who was having a one-to-one chat with me about what your goals are in terms of decoration, this is what I would suggest to you, because I'll give you a range of information based on what I'm observing, and then you get to make a decision on what will help you. Now, when it comes to, say, information, in this day and age, there is a ton of information available, including information and videos on piping techniques. Sometimes the thing that is stopping you from going from point A, that is what you desire, to actually mastering a skill in your desire, is sometimes motivation or the fear of not knowing how. Okay, piping seems amazing. You're watching the video, it looks like I can do it, but it can be awfully hard to do that. So for someone like you, if you really, really, really want to improve, I'll cut to the chase. Book a cake class, okay? Don't go looking for different sort of classes and be wondering. Choose the class that you are confident will solve that problem for you, because in the class you will get someone to hold your hand to actually show you how to do it. And I say that from experience. By the way, the rose on a cupcake is very hard to do. It took me nearly 5 years. Mind you, I've been baking for 10 years plus. It took me the best part of the last 5 years to actually master the rose. And we're talking the swirl rose on a cupcake. I'm not even talking like the proper piping flowers on a cake. Those are intermediate to nearly advanced techniques. But you can create like the rosette and a rose, and the hand movement is a technique that one needs to master, and sometimes it has to be taught, and you probably need someone to hold your hand. Okay, so if that is the specific thing you want to learn, then look for a class that you think will help you solve that problem. A class will not suddenly make you an expert. What it will do is that it will correct the errors that you are not aware of. It will boost your confidence, and then it will establish a base for you to start, and then you can build up from it by doing by practicing, because then you know where to start and where to go, right? In the meantime, the roses, I think the recommendation for a class is set in the roses because of the information you've provided, because the rose the rose or rosette is a very technical thing to do, if you like. But if you are very strong-willed, like I am sometimes, and I feel like I can conquer the world, then your best effort is get some short ball buttercream, get a video that is very detailed, and try your hands at it. Try and try and try. And if you're still not satisfied with it, book a class so that the expert will hold your hand through the process. But whilst you're considering this is not like advice to go off and book a class. Whilst you're still considering a class, I have said on here when I undertook the piping basics, there is a live on this channel where I undertook piping basics, and I have said here time and again, I have advanced skills in the cakes I make. I hope so, or at least I know I am a professional. One thing I can tell you, I am not a professional at everything, and piping is one of my very least skills. Okay, I can pipe, but when I see the Lambert style piping techniques where people are kind of whizzing their hands and deriving perfect, no, that is not me. I have to be patient with myself. But if you gave me a hyper-realistic cake or a realistic item to carve from imagination, that's my place. We can't all know everything. So here's what I'll tell you. The rose is an intermediate to advanced skill. But there are different sort of piping techniques you can learn without having to take a class yet. And it's important to kind of get a grip on the hand movement, because when it comes to piping, buttercream consistency is important. There's a lot to learn. If the consistency of buttercream is not right, you're not going to get great results. So first of all, you have to learn how to get the right buttercream and the right recipe with the right consistency. Then you have to learn how to kind of move it into the piping bag, and then learn the hand movement that will yield you the great result. These are all things. So what you can do is learn the small things in a macro way. So then again, emphasizing on the class, a class will incorporate all of these elements. It will hand you, a good class should be able to hand you a great recipe and then show you from the recipe and then transition to actually making the piping detail. But all of that aside, there are piping tips that you can actually master yourself at home, which includes the French piping tip. The French piping tip and piping borders, for instance, is some of the simplest techniques you can derive. And if you happen to even get one, when I did the piping basics tutorial on here, I said out loud, I said, you don't actually need all the techniques, but I say that to also acknowledge that sometimes as creative people, there are specific aspects of things that are appealing to us. And if yours is to learn how to do the rosette, go for it and pursue the course that will get you there faster. And that is my recommendation for you. Unfortunately, piping is not my biggest skill. Okay, I can pipe definitely, but I have shaky hands, so small fine details are not my strongest skill at all. And I say that to reassure you that if you are not where you want to be, it's not cause for concern at all. You just have to will yourself and just keep at it, and you will get to where you can. Okay, and remember, I always say on here, practice makes improvement. Okay, there are ways you can kind of master the hand movement if you want to. For instance, you can get short ball buttercream if you like, or you can make a cheaper version of buttercream by replacing butter with, say, Crisco or something else at home, or lard at home. But all of this in a way doesn't give you the outcomes, because you need the right buttercream consistency for great results. But you can master the hand movement. People even use potato mash, as in the pre-made mash powder. If you mix water into it, I've tried all of that. One thing I've come to find out is that the buttercream consistency does definitely impact on the outcomes of your design and the quality and how they present. And it's important to know that too. So I hope the insight and recommendation here will help. Okay. That also said, yeah, I was just looking in the chat to see what you're saying there. I think I missed some of what that whilst we're on that subject, also know this is not discouraging you or dissuading you away from what your interests are. There are other ways cakes can be decorated. So sometimes the thing that is appealing to you is one, but if you are not there yet or can't get there in the present time, you can consider other options. And as I can see in the chat, you can find different ways to bring designs to a cake without having to employ the skills that you are inept at least for the time being. So for instance, when I did the Baking Basics series here, I focused on very simplistic cake designs that were great cake tasting cakes, but with very minimal decorative ability. In that, if you have a great cake that has good frosting in it, then you can focus on adding either flowers or fruits or jam and bits and bobs as decorative elements. So you don't even have to rely on your skill. You just have to rely on a bit of creative imagination to kind of bring the cake to life. And that's one way to get better results with your cakes as well. Oh, the what's his name? Let's see what I've missed. I'm just catching up. See, a guava jam filling, amazing. So look for a recipe. The thing with baking is that, okay, here's what I've learned from my own experience as a baker. When I didn't know when I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, I knew I loved baking, but I didn't have a specific specialty. And I think the awe of new things and the curiosity of it was exciting. I felt like I wanted to do any and everything. But once I kind of got the understanding of what my skill is, what my intention and objectives were, it became much easier. In that, as a beginner, do you really have to decorate a beautifully well presented cake like a professional? Well, of course, if that's something you really want to do for yourself, that's fine, okay? But that's not the only medium that you can make a cake for family and friends, you know, because you can actually because even if the cake is beautifully presented, it still has to taste great. So my biggest recommendation to any beginner who wants to learn to bake is to focus on the science and have some great recipes, about 1 or 2, 3 maximum. Okay, if you have 3 recipes that are go-to that yields you great results, all you need is a bit of imagination on how to present it. That's all. It could be your nephew's birthday or your grandchild's birthday or a family member's birthday. I don't care whose birthday it is. As long as the cake is amazing, people will remember it. And so, yeah, having fillings and additional elements will enhance the eating experience and, of course, the cake generally. That said, lollipop. You feel lost without a cake on the table or kitchen counter. That's fine. If you have a great recipe, you can settle for a bundt cake, okay, or a loaf cake. Can you imagine a lemon drizzle cake or a lemon drizzle loaf? It doesn't involve anything. I mean, I'll say this: the Meghan Markle olive lemon and honey cake that she made with olive oil. It's a very basic, simple cake, but it is amazing. It's full of flavor. And what did she do? She just filled it with frosting and threw raspberries on it with jam, and that was it. It's a great tasting cake. But when you see the cake, you think, oh, that requires a lot. And maybe if you're that person, having a very cute cake stand. It doesn't have to be a modern stand. even if it's a rustic wood, like on the table, just how sometimes the real trick is in how the thing is presented rather than the thing itself. A little bit of intention goes a long way. See, you couldn't go wrong with a lemon drizzle cake. You could never go wrong, because a lemon drizzle cake is such a simplistic cake to put together, you know, but the flavors come through. Or even homemade muffins, homemade muffin with a streusel topping. You could do the same with a loaf. The same recipe that would yield a muffin would make a loaf with streusel topping. You know what? Lollipop loves the lemon cake. Oh, the panda cake was it was a carrot cake, wasn't it? Ardy, go bake yourself. Come on. I mean, the whole point is to encourage you to go to your kitchen and bake. So if I'm actually making you want to go and bake a streusel cake, I guess that is a good thing. That's my job done. So come on, go do it, okay? Nobody is stopping you. Go bake it and post it in the community post and let us know what you're doing. Lemon ganache and lemon in the cream. Yes, okay. Yeah, we made the lemon ganache. Wasn't that lovely? Oh my God. Lollipop, that was amazing, wasn't it? I mean, you came back to tell us that cake was amazing. I think I know pandang. Yeah, I think I have pandang. It's a South Asian thing. It yields a very, is it the green? I might be wrong. Is it the green or no? The green yields like mocha, but yeah, I think I've seen the pandang. Is it green or what's this color? The color of okay, it's green. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because sometimes I confuse the pandang with matcha, the color, because matcha is green too. Anyway, that aside, Lollipop, we're talking your birthday cake, right? What happened? What happened to your birthday cake that it broke? Okay, Lollipop said, yeah, my marble cake with biscuit buttercream. I just moved the wrapped up cake around and it snapped. I can feel your pain, Lollipop. Oh God. That must have been awful for you. I know it's delicious, but you didn't want it to snap in the first place, did you? You did bake another 2 rounds. That is so brave. At 11 p.m. to frost before your birthday in the morning. Welcome to a baker's life. That now I really do believe, Lollipop, you are passionate about baking, because if you weren't passionate, if you weren't passionate, you won't be wanting to bake at night, okay? The test for any passionate baker is the baker who, through no fault of their own, is in the kitchen at 2 a.m. baking a cake that, you know, nobody would even miss if it wasn't there. But you just want to prove something to yourself, so you are busy making it. So, Lollipop, I actually do believe you. Adi, in our part of the world, that stuff is illegal, so I'm gonna just leave it over here, okay? You would just have a slice and go to sleep. Lollipop. Lollipop. Well, you can't drive anyway. That's fine. Lollipop. So your NHS prescription says leafy cakes or what? What does it say? Put it in the chat. Let's see. I mean, Lollipop, you might probably be pranking me. I don't believe you. Lollipop says, I say as in... Lollipop. Lollipop, you have thought about this. Okay. This is exciting. I know you are serious. Let's go check our cake and see what's happening here. I am probably the only baker who keeps breaking the baking rules. They said... Ooh, it's come out dry. Ooh. So RD says, I want to master a rosé flavor cake without it being overpowering. Lollipop might be your go-to person for this one, right? It seems like our cake has finished baking. At least one is done here. If you're just joining us, we're baking a red velvet cake. Ooh, okay. I like it. I like it. It's come out. I told you the recipe bakes deep and it comes out well. Okay, look. It's all come out clean. Here's what we have. Thank you, Lollipop. Lollipop says those cake look okay. Yeah, they've all come out great. Yep. Anybody who tells you that a red velvet cake is a chocolate cake with food coloring, tell them I said it's a lie. Because the cake I have in front of me, sis, chef's kiss. I wish I could cut into it, but if I try, the cake will fall apart. Okay, look at it. Look at the yield. This is baking 4-inch deep. The dented part was me picking it out of the oven. I had to hold the pan instead of like picking it this way. I held the pan, so it's kind of dented that side. So look at how the crumb looks like. I'm picking on the cake. Look at that crust. It is so good. This is the sort of cake you just want to sit by yourself and just munch away. The note of chocolate is there. It is rich. It is sweet, but not overpoweringly sweet. I want to tell you what it tastes like. If this was like a biscuit, I can't tell you because there's nothing like it. Audrey says, I'm about to put this puff pastry to work today. I have some Nutella biscoff. Audi, you are my person. Go on then. Get this puff pastry. Nicola, how are you, darling? What did I miss here? My marble cake did shrink a bit. Your marble cake did shrink. Sometimes there's not one simple reason for why something happens. So as Nicola says overmixing might be a reason. Another reason may be a slight imbalance in the ingredient ratios. So for instance, too much liquid can cause the bake to shrink, because when it's baking on the outside in and it's rising, it can't hold in the middle, so it sinks. Sometimes the heat, okay, if your oven has heat in if it has spots in the oven, because sometimes the heat is not even, and depending on the pan you are using, the heat is not distributed evenly. So if it's cooking on the outside and the middle is cooler, by the time it gets to the middle, the consistency of butter has shrunk and gelatinized, and it will fall in. That's one reason. Another reason may just be also a lack of rising agent. If there is an imbalance in the proportion of ingredients, and so your rising agent cannot contribute to a rise, it will shrink. And the opposite is also true, that if you have too much rising agent, it will rise and then fall, and then you have shrinkage in the middle. So there's not one particular reason, unless it's a tried and tested recipe. You just have to keep an open mind for what may be. But shrinkage is not the worst thing, as long as your yield is still great. A hand mixer is for great workout people. I am probably the laziest baker. Well, let's see if we can flip this over so that we can all get to see what we bake. the hint of chocolate in the red velvet is just so good. Okay. Okay, let's have a look. See, I told you it will bake 4-inch deep. And then, ooh, okay. Oh, look at how tender it is. Look at how tender the recipe is. Look, it is almost peeling. Okay. I mean, that is one way to see how moist the cake is. Look, I'm not going to be able to look, people. Look at that crown. I'm going to leave the rest because if I try, people, I want some ice cream with this cake, okay? And by the way, I'm not touching this because if I touch it, it will fall apart. The crumb is very delicate. Nicola, there you go. I know. This red velvet cake, honey, look, can you see me over here? You are on your own. I don't even know you people. Look. It is so, look, it's not a dense cake. It is moist in all the good ways. I told you people, it's a good recipe. Try it, okay? Go and try it in your own time. When you bake a cake like this, will bake a 10-inch large cake. You don't have to do anything. I think I baked the same size on here before. You top it off with my cheat version of cream cheese frosting. It is so good. You'll get all the praise as if you've done something. Meanwhile, you just employed basic skills. Anyway, whilst we're at it, lollipop, let's talk about you and Swiss meringue buttercream before I pack myself to go. And if you didn't know what we were on about, lollipop wants to make Swiss meringue buttercream. Lollipop, we've already covered Swiss meringue buttercream and the different variations of it on the channel in previous live, from the egg white, the raw egg whites to the pasteurized egg whites. Okay, so the simple thing to note here is that Swiss meringue buttercream, whether you're using raw eggs or pasteurized eggs, you will end up with Swiss meringue buttercream. You just have to have a trusted recipe, because depending on the ingredient ratios, you could end up yielding a very buttery mouthfeel for Swiss meringue buttercream, which is not great at all. I've tried both, and I'll stick to my raw egg whites. The simple reason being the raw egg white process is longer, because then you have to pasteurize it over a double boiler to, is it 160 degree F, which is about 71 degrees C, so that it's safe of foodborne bacteria before you start whipping it. And when you whip it, you want to get it to stiff peaks. And even when you get it to stiff peaks, you want to make sure that the meringue is cool before introducing the eggs, before introducing the butter. Now, when you switch from the raw egg whites to pasteurized eggs, your process is more streamlined. It's simple to derive, because firstly, if you use pasteurized egg whites, you don't need to do the double boiler method. In fact, The double boiler method plays two functions for when you're using the raw eggs, in that it pasteurizes the eggs to a safe temperature whilst also helping to dissolve the sugar in the eggs. If you use pasteurized egg whites, the process of cooking the eggs to a safe temperature is completely eliminated, because the pasteurization is done before packaging the egg, so you don't have to cook it. However, you want to still warm the eggs to you so that the sugar can dissolve. By so doing, you can either two things. You can boil water from a kettle and then sit your bowl of pasteurized eggs and sugar in it until you can feel the sugar completely dissolved. Why do I feel something in my nose? Until you can feel the sugar completely dissolved in your egg white, as in the pasteurized egg white, and then you can whip it, right? That said, pasteurized egg whites at the point of production do affect the protein strands, the strength of the protein strands. So one disadvantage of pasteurized eggs is that it will not whip as voluminous as raw eggs for you, but it is neither here nor there. Personally, I don't like the pasteurized egg whites because mentally it just feels to me that it's still raw eggs, and I don't know how they've been tampered with before they got to me. In terms of quantity, they don't yield the same in terms of volume and quantity, but that's neither here nor there. The bottom line is that you still yield yourself Swiss meringue buttercream. I have completed that here on the series, on the channel. It should be in the live version. To mitigate the issue of having to dissolve the sugar, I mixed the pasteurized egg whites with icing sugar, and the results were still fine. I will tell you the taste was still okay because it was still the same recipe for the raw eggs that I used for the pasteurized eggs. Bottom line, it's neither here nor there. If you're a complete beginner starting with Swiss meringue buttercream, perhaps try the pasteurized egg whites, but I will always recommend that you start doing things hard so that you can master and understand the technical process before you streamline to an easier method. Because whilst Swiss meringue buttercream is deemed very stable and has all these markers for how great tasting it is not for everybody because of its overwhelmingly battery mouth feel, if you like. So knowing how to derive it in its original form will always be a sort of threshold or marker to determine the different variations when you make it in pasteurized form. That aside, to make Swiss meringue buttercream, you definitely need a stand mixer of some sort, because the meringue kind of whips different with a hand mixer. You are never going to get the meringue to whip up in terms of the volume the way you want it, and also with the butter added to it. So you will need a stand mixer. That's the only downside to Swiss meringue buttercream. That's just me going off on a tangent about Swiss meringue buttercream, but I hope I've been able to clarify that for you, Lollipop. Yeah, so that's just, oh god, this cake is so tender. I'm gonna have to leave it as is. Okay. Oh god, it is so tender and so delicate. Okay, I'm probably going to do the odd thing by doing the same with this one. Okay, except this one didn't kind of come off. Yeah, this is fine. Look at the top. Solid. Nicola, are you jealous I'm eating without you? Now you see how I feel when you are over there eating all that good stuff. Okay, you and I are friends. Okay? Okay. Okay. These ones have all sorted themselves. Okay. Oh, look at how delicate this is. Oh. Okay. It is solid. It is formed. it has baked right. I'm going to wrap this in cling film. I'm going to leave it on the countertop. And then it will be filled and stacked tomorrow. And we'll be back covering this in ganache. Let's see. Who else has something to say? She keeps eating everything. Nicola, don't be jealous. Are you jealous, Nicola? Don't worry. Don't worry. I'm thinking about you. Okay? One more bite. One more bite. Nicola, this is for you. I know. Tabitha. Tabitha says, someday, all of us will be sat together in a lovely space, sharing cake laughs and lots of conversation with a splash of chaos. Tabitha, just as you pray, may the Lord make it happen for us, okay? It will be a dream come true. It will be a dream come through to host a meetup where we will bake, we will sit, we'll eat our bakes, we will laugh, and I can tell you some things that I can't tell you on here with a splash of chaos, okay? So let's keep the fun going, okay? Let's be kinder to each other. Let's keep hope alive whilst continuing to share so much love through cakes, because cakes bring us so much joy. And I hope wherever you are, you can just say a prayer and keep supporting the channel, right? For all of you who joined me today, thank you so much for stopping by, okay? Happy Thursday. If it's morning where you are, I hope you have a good day. If your morning started a little bit wonky, just keep hope alive and keep going. It will get better. If it's already midday, getting to the end of the day for you, keep it pushing, and I hope your day finishes well. For the rest of you who want to go and bake, enjoy your bake. Happy baking, and I'll see you in my next video, which will either be tomorrow or the rest of the weekend. Take care. Bye for now.